Good morning, Glenda Mollet here, and I'm in my craft room stamping with you today. We're going to make this beautiful card using the Parisian Beauty Suite of products. I cased this card from Ange McKay because it's gorgeous, just gorgeous. So I'm creating this video for my January 2020 monthly stamping club, so you know how to make the cards after. And then next year, in January 2021, I'll make it public so that everybody can see it. Okay, so we're going to use the Parisian Beauty stamp set, the Forever Blossom stamp set, the Parisian dies, and the Cherry Blossom dies. So these together with the designer paper and the champagne rhinestones and some ribbon, which I can't remember which one at the moment, all make up the Parisian Beauty Suite of products. So let me just show you that in the catalog, because now I can, because it's gone live. So on page 17, well actually the bundle is on 14, or the suite is on 14 and 15. So here's the bundle in the catalog. Look at those gorgeous cards. When Petal Pink first came out, it wasn't my favorite, I'll be honest with you. Now I love it. So here's the Parisian Blossom Specialty Designer Paper. It has champagne highlights in the paper. Oh, and the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. That's the one that goes with. So here's that one. Hopefully you'll be able to see. Oh, I should check and make sure I'm oriented properly before I carry on and go too much further. So this, you can see how gorgeous that is. And then the ribbon. The ribbon is this Petal Pink ribbon with champagne metallic edging on it. The whole suite is impressive. I love it. But you don't have to buy the suite all at once. You can buy each one of the stamp sets. So there's the Forever Blossoms bundle, and there's the Parisian Beauty bundle. So you can buy them separately. Don't have to fork it all out at once. Okay, so we're using champagne foil and some of the Parisian Beauty Blossom Specialty Designer paper. Here's the recipe, and club members will be getting a copy of this recipe. Memento and Petal Pink image or ink, the dark Petal Pink blends, and some Wink of Stella. There's your cardstock pieces, champagne rhinestones, Parisian dies, Cherry Blossom dies, Forever Blossoms stamp set, and the small bloom punch. No, not the small bloom punch. What am I talking about? We're using a die to cut out the flowers. Hi. This is my video day. It's going to be a long day. And then the inside, it's got a piece of Whisper White. I've sponged around the edges and stamped the fleur-de-lis stamped image in Petal Pink. So we'll get started. I left the envelope somewhere out in my studio because I'm packing for my catalog launch in Powell River on the weekend. But I have one here. We'll stamp it together. So there's the card base, your inside piece, a piece of champagne foil. There's the designer paper and a piece of black. And I've put some of the adhesive sheet on the back of that for the swirly thing and the merci. It just makes it easier to attach it. This piece, we're going to stamp the flowers and die cut them. And this is for behind your sentiment. So this paper, this one has the champagne highlights on it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm oriented properly. Can you see the champagne highlights? It's gorgeous. So before we start doing any of the putting together, we're going to die cut the Eiffel Tower image out of this piece. And this is the piece I'm going to physically use on the card. But with times being what they are, people are more and more looking for how to optimize their cardstock, and so by die cutting one of the images that you're going to use on your card, by die cutting it out of the paper before you put the paper on in a behind layer, maximizes your cardstock. Like, why would you not do it? Sorry, had to take a quick drink because my voice was starting to grumble. Okay, so this is the magnetic platform, and I have my paper with my die on it. I find that this die cuts better if it's upside down. So I'm just going to turn that over like that. I'm going to take my other cutting plate. I think it's time I got some new cutting plates. I ordered them. And I replaced all the cutting plates in my class die cutting machines, but I haven't done it in my craft room yet. Because in reality, there's still lots of life left in this one, even though it is almost cracked in half. Okay, so I did my die cut upside down, and I ran it through twice, nice and slow. You don't have to go fast on these when you're running through your die cutting machine. It gives your machine a chance to make the die work on the cardstock. So I'm just using a piece of scrap here to catch all my bits and pieces. I'm going to use my take your pick tool with the die brush on it just to get rid of most of these pieces. Now I've discovered that this row right here is really hard to get out. And I don't know whether it's just my die or if they're all like that. Just have to push them out afterwards. There. See how cleanly that came out? I'll put that back so I don't lose it. Not that I can lose something that big. Okay, so we have all our little pieces floating around. Let's get them in a pile here so they're not everywhere. And I'm just going to go over top and push out the pieces that didn't come. Some on the side there. They come out easily, it's just that they didn't. I think I'm going to have to get a hold of Stampin' Up because that row should come out faster than it does. I think I might have a defective die set. And the nice thing about Stampin' Up is if you contact them and say, I have issues, they send you replacements. Usually no questions asked. Yeah, that should come out of there faster than that. Now, part of the issue is that this is foil and it has this plastic piece on the back of it. And if you can get the plastic piece to come up, sometimes it'll take all the other little pieces with it. Alright, let's just quickly get rid of these. So what I'm doing is I'm holding them down with my paper piercing part of my take your pick tool and just lifting the die cut image up so that the little piece stays down there. Just helps dislodge them. Sorry this is taking so long, but oh well. It is what it is. There, see, then they pull right off. And there's that plastic piece I was telling you about. The only bad thing is that it's full of static electricity, and when you get it off, it sticks to everything. But that's okay. Alright, so there's our die cut image ready to go. Let's get rid of these before they go everywhere. Alright, now I'm going to take the black piece that has the adhesive sheet on the back. Put that out of the way. And we're going to cut one swirl and one merci. Oh, that's a moor. Get it the right way. Come on. There we are. And there's lots of room on the with the dimensions that I told you to use. See this? See how cracked it is? I know. Why do I not replace it? So I'm just going slowly through the machine one way, and then I'm going to go back and do it the other way. There we are. Now before I take those out of the cardstock, I want to do some assembly because there's an eye on Merci, and if you attach it directly right onto your piece for this sentiment, then you won't lose that little eye part. And this works really well if you just stick it right onto your card front. So step 1, attach the designer paper to the champagne foil. Yeah, I've got to I just finished my Facebook Live for this week, and now I have to do the videos for all 4 club projects. So I'm going to be talked out by the time the day is over, which is truly unusual for me. All right. So I had my catalog open house on Monday. What a fun time that was. I love it when people come over and stamp with me and we play games. I get to give stuff away. There was a make and take for a calendar, and I have everything packed up to go to Powell River for my escapade there on Sunday, so I can't show it to you, but maybe that's what the project will be for my Facebook Live next week. Okay, so I'm just lining this up so that it's straight, because this is tear and tape, and once it's down, it's hard to, well, it's not hard if you've got undo, but if you don't have undo, you'll never remove it. There we are. Now this whole thing can go right onto the card now. And see, you don't see the hole from where I cut out the Eiffel Tower. It's hidden with the designer paper. Right, my card base. Look, there we are. Do my rabbit ears. So I had a lot of fun with all the new products from the Occasions mini catalog for January 2020. Had a lot of fun over Christmas break doing all these projects and stamping. Okay, so now to get it on here straight, I line it up on my grid paper, figure out where I want it. So if I put it right there, it should be 2 and 2. Okay, so now I'm lining it up here. Let's go up a bit further so you can see it. So I'm lining it up there, the champagne foil right on that line. And then when I go to the top, I line it up on the same line. And then you get it straight. I can't stamp without grid paper underneath me. Okay, so the next step is now I have to put my Eiffel Tower on, which means I need some little teeny tiny adhesive or foam bits from the dimensional package, because I don't want them to show. I'll put one there, and I'll put one there, and there we are. Put one up here to hold the pointy bit up, if I can get it off my finger, that is. Okay, now a couple of really thin strips at the bottom. Now you don't have to be this picky if you don't want for the dimensionals, but I like it when my piece stays where it's supposed to be. Now I need 2 more to go in finish off that row. There we are. So now that sits on here, and it's offset a bit so that it's on the side, because remember the 1/3, 2/3 rule of thumb that makes it more pleasing to the eye instead of half and half. Oh, just saw another piece that I hadn't pushed out yet, so I'll get that while I'm here. And I'm just taking the liners off the dimensional strips right into the garbage so that they don't go everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to put this on. It's going to go down there, offset a bit, and hopefully straight. There we are. Now, I can take this piece. This is our swirly thing. And take out take it out of the die. Take off the liner from that adhesive strip that we used, and then take this piece out. And there we have the die cut. So now it's going to sit in there, kind of like that. And this one you can push it around a bit because it's so delicate. You can reshape it if you need to. I'll just make sure it's down good. There we go. Okay. Now do the merci while we're at it. I'll take the die off. Now the dot for the eye stayed in the die, so I'm just going to put it to the side because I'll be using it. You don't have to. If you don't want you don't care if the eye has a dot, don't worry about it. Okay, so now take the liner off. And you kind of want to sort of center it. There we are. Now I flagged the ends, and that's just done by hand. Now you can cut this down if you want, not have it quite so long. I'm not going to fuss with that on this video. There we are. Now put the eye on. So the way I found it easiest is if you can get the liner off of the dot for the eye while it's still in the die, works the best. Okay, there we are. It's a little bit picky, and if you can't do it, it's not a big deal, because you can use the other end of the poke, you know, the end that has that stuff in. This end, you can use this end to pick it up and put it where you want. I just put the die back over top of the letters, take my piercing part, push it down, and there it is. It stays there when you remove the die. Kind of cool. Okay, now I'm going to get this ready to attach to that. Just going to cut a few pieces. So you want to put your dimensionals on this end and then on this end, and not in the middle, because you have to slide your flower in there in the middle. And you could do your middle first if you want, but this works too. Let's put the dimensional things off of my fingers. Okay. Take the liners off. Oops. Now this is the card. This is the original one. And it goes just above that second strip of little rectangle-y die-cut-y part things. There we go. Now we need to do the flowers. So get things cleaned up here so I can find my ink. I'm using Memento ink to stamp the flowers. And we need 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Okay, put that away. Because on the front, that's the only stamping there is. Now, flip this over. It's starting to get a little bowed. Find my die from the cherry blossom die. Then you have to figure out which way it goes. There it is. Nope. That's not it. That's not it. This is the picky part. There we are. But once you get it, then you've got it for all 3. And use a bit of washi tape to hold it in place if you don't want it to move. I would imagine once I put new plates on here that the new plates are going to have better adhesion than the old ones. Now we have to color these, and you can color them before or after you die cut them. It doesn't matter which one. They're colored with the dark, oops, didn't go on right. They're colored with the dark petal pink blends in a flicking motion. Is how I did mine. Okay, that's not sitting there properly. Come on. You need to cooperate. Thank you. All right. Flower number 2. And that one out. And now flower number 3. And see, once you have it set up for one flower, then as long as you've stamped the same orientation for the rest of them, they're all set up. And it doesn't take too long. All right, one more die cut. I kind of wish they had enough room to put 2 of these flower die cuts in the dies. But they didn't. They have started using, like, if they have space left on the metal sheet, they have started using it for duplicates because, see, there's 2 leaves in this one and there's 2 buds in this one, but I guess they didn't have enough room to do 2 of these flowers. Not that everybody's going to cut as many of them as I do. So this is the dark petal pink Stampin' Blends, and I just do it in a flicking motion like this from the center out. But if you want to color the whole thing solid, it's your card. And then I go in the middle just to make sure the middle is covered or colored. And you can also, if you want, take the time to use the combination, the light and the dark Stampin' Blends, and do some funky shading and blending and stuff. But I like it this way. It works. I've been doing flowers like this since the blends first came out. There we are. See, it doesn't take too long. Now I'm going to put Wink Estella on them before I put them onto the card, just because it's easier to do it now. And for this, I'm covering the whole flower, not just where the color is. I'm going to do the whole thing. And then we're going to put a champagne rhinestone in the middle. Yeah, my Wink Estellas are running out. I think it's time to order a couple of new ones. But I did one of them, and I don't know whether this is the one or not, I stuck some rubbing alcohol into it and regenerated it, and got longer use out of it. And then when it runs out and doesn't have the bling anymore, then I'm using it for coloring with rubbing alcohol. Okay, so there we are. Now we need to put dimensionals on the back. So one of them is going to have dimensionals only on this side. So let's make that this one before I forget. And put it all over. Okay, now these two can have them. It's probably overkill with dimensionals, but I don't like one because it's wobbly, and I don't like two because it can be tippy. So I tend to put 3 in, but I don't think 3 is necessary if you don't want 3. I was talking with a friend who came to stamp with me yesterday about using excess dimensionals and how every extra dimensional is a step closer for me qualifying for the next Stampin' Up incentive trip. You can do it. Mini dimensional by mini dimensional. Okay, so this one I'm just going to shove down under here, and this is why we didn't put a dimensional in the middle of the sentiment. And just about done the front. This one's going to go up here. Right there. Okay, so we'll finish it off with the champagne rhinestones. And my pokey tool. So I'm going to use this one. For this one I used the medium size. Let's see what the little size looks like. It's fine. We'll just use some little ones. You always get more of the teeny tiny ones than any other size. There. Isn't that gorgeous? You just want to look at it. Oh, thanks, Ange. I'm so glad you made that card. Okay, so now the inside. We're going to sponge it and do the fleur-de-lis pattern on it using Petal Pink ink. Say that 3 times really fast. Petal Pink ink, Petal Pink ink. Yeah. There'll be a different word come out there at some point. So I'm just going to stamp a row of them going up. And then I'm going to stamp the envelope too. Now if you're looking at this as a club member for January, that's not the club host code. That's my current one. And if you're catching this next year, yeah, that host code won't be valid at all. But it still gives you my email address if you have to send me a message. You want to ask me a question. Oh, I put the ink away and I need it again. I didn't do the sponging. Here it is. So there's one of our Stampin' Sponges cut in quarters. And I'm just going to do a little bit of sponging around the edges just to soften it a bit. This is such a soft card with bold, hard lines. It makes your heart happy just looking at it. Well, it makes my heart happy looking at it. Okay. Now, put some adhesive on the back. That tear and tape going. Good thing I don't have anything planned until tonight at 7 o'clock because I think I'm going to be in my studio or in my craft room stamping for a while today. And then I'm in a swap and they have to be in the mail by Monday, so I'll be working on those once I get the club stuff done. And then I have a team meeting on Monday night, and I have to get ready for that. I'm going to welcome some new team members. As during celebration, you get extra free stuff. You get about almost $100 worth of extra free stuff during celebration this year. Get a cute little mini cutter and a designer paper sampler pack, and then a stamp set of your choice. There we are. There's the card. There's the original one I made, and like I said, this is cased from Ange McKay, and here's the recipe. I'll just hold it there for a sec while I take a drink. Okay, we're done. Thanks for joining me, whether you're watching as a club member currently in 2020 or as on my YouTube channel in January of 2021. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. Stamping smiles, and bye for now.